but I don't want you to be like this guy. Well, I'm talking to the guys here, and thinking, oh my God, not binary options. Because from what you may have saw last week is that we are going to be talking about a very nice, easy way, I think, easier way to pull out money from the markets without doing too much over leveraging, putting a smaller bit of money in the market and then turning that into something pretty decent. Okay, and so MetaTrader is one of the softwares, and in fact, I spelled that totally wrong. MetaTrader 4 is one of the softwares that I'm going to be looking at this week. So if you remember from last week, actually, let me just come out the slide here. If you remember from last week, I looked into using TradingView. And TradingView is pretty good because we like the fact that you can actually get started. Let me just bring up my screen here. You can actually get started online. Don't need any special software, all right, to trade. Now, what I like to do, I would like to look at what the market's doing. So today, pretty dead, right? Wednesday the 14th, nothing fantastic going on in terms of news releases that can affect a trade we're going to put on, all right? So the last thing we want to do is have a beautiful setup and then it gets wiped out because we forgot that there was a news release coming out or something of that nature. So that's all good. Nothing crazy going on today. And so now I feel very comfortable when I'm going to get one of my alerts coming through that I'm going to be taking that trade without any hassle. So I'm going to actually switch back to my Word. I'm going to change my layout because I had a nice PowerPoint set up and it's not quite worked out. So MetaTrader 4, let's just quickly look at that. This is a bit of software that you're going to download. If you've got a computer, you will just download this onto your hard drive and we'll go to this one, download it for free. If you've got a broker account with any company, you know, there's a few companies I recommend. And if you want to do this route, let me know. There's some good companies. The big difference with MetaTrader 4, which is what you have like this, is I would say only use it on your desktop. Okay, I'm going to show my screen today, which is going to be, oh, you have it on your phone already. You have MetaTrader 4, Charlene. I'm going to show it on the desktop version because there is a couple of plugins I use, which is different to what you get on the phone version. Now, to be honest, I don't like the phone version. It's no way as good as TradingView. Let's just go back to TradingView for a second to remind you all that you can do the same thing on TradingView. All right, so if I go to my screens now, I look at a chart. I've got a lot more flexibility with TradingView. I can save my charts. I can go from one device to another and, you know, log into my laptop, log into my phone, and everything's set the way I want it set, right? So last week I had it set like this and it's right there. I don't need to mess with it. So this is what I like. So, but I'm going to talk about this for this week, MetaTrader 4. But no, whatever I do on here, if you haven't got a desktop, you can just use it on TradingView. Some of the same things that I'm going to share with you today. So the other thing that we're going to look at, which I want to introduce you to in more depth, is obviously the indicators that we use. And again, I'm going to flick between my browser and my document here. So I introduced you guys to this last week, some of these patterns. All right. So we're talking about using a particular pattern that occurs called wedges. Okay. So whether it's the market's falling down, whether the market's going up, we don't care. We just want to get the direction right for when it happens. Okay. So the wedge pattern is simply mapping the tops and the bottom of a move that takes place in the market. Okay, so you know, in a downward trend like what we have here, you're going to see at some point the market's just going to be bouncing. And so, as I was saying saying last week, that the support and resistance lines that I drew, generally overall is what I'm going to be looking at for when I place a trade. But after that, after I know my support resistance levels, I want to be looking at these wedge patterns that occur, that go up and down. And then at some point, the pattern is going to break. And this is what we're kind of looking at. This is kind of an ideal move when it breaks and it breaks out of our line of support here. And then that line of support becomes resistance. Yeah, so whether it's, you know, trend lines, whether it's support and resistance lines, when that situation happens and it breaks that line, then you want to now look to that as being your line of resistance, and then the price struggles to go beyond that level. Same way in the other method, if it's in a downward trend, if it's a downward trend and it breaks and it's going to break to the upside, same way, right? So it's going down, boom, 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 and then it breaks out. And this is all what we're looking for. We're looking for breakout patterns that occur in the market. Okay, so let me just flick back to my screen and show you. I'm going to show you on here real quick. In fact, I want to change some stuff on here, but we're going to draw these lines. We're doing it on this situation. So this is a good setup. In fact, my lines, I'm going to introduce you guys to the second indicator in a minute. But we'll just want to draw these trend lines. They don't need to be fantastically well drawn. They just need to be drawn. All right. And so you can see we've got a pattern here of it hitting. I like for it to hit the bottom of the candles. These candlesticks represent 15 minutes. That's the time frame I trade on. So 15-minute candles, I want to hit it for it to hit as many times as possible at the bottom and at the top. And at some point, because we've got a move where the market's going down, I'm waiting for it to reverse and go up like this. And so this candle here would represent the first time I'm going to rub my hands together and say, okay, it's time for me to get ready to, you know, put a possible trade on if everything else meets its criteria, which we'll go through. So I'm just building a case story. Trading is all about building probabilities, you know. So if you ever watch these detective programs, whether it's Columbo or, you know, Mrs. Marple or whatever, right? They're all building up cases, different things to add to the evidence. So I want to add more stuff to the evidence. This isn't good enough for me alone just to see that, then for me to put my money in. All right. So obviously, first things first, there's no news. So no news is good news for us. And then secondly, you know, we want to just look for these patterns only when we have this other condition met. And I'll talk about that condition in a second. So let me go back to the chart there, the patterns here. So these are other symmetrical triangles and stuff. Again, we don't need to go to too much depth into this. We just wanna break out. Again, we just like it when, for this example's sake, we like it when we see the price, this price action hitting it many times. Okay, so again, these can represent that candlestick of 15 minutes, just in a different format. All right, so we say what is the minimum requirement for us to have this going? We want at least, it's good to have at least four points or so for it to hit. Okay, did our one hit that? Probably hit that many a times. Yeah, hit that many times. 1, 2, 3, 4, and it broke out. So the more touches, the stronger it is. All right, so we want to, you know, when it breaks out, you know it's going to be a breakout because it's been ranging in this motion. We call this ranging. It's just going up and down, and we want this to happen. We want it to break out either to the top or break out to the bottom, depending on other conditions. So there's the next part of our jigsaw piece that we need, indicators, is relative strength index, the RSI. Okay, so the RSI is an a way to measure this movement. You'll see this on the chart. It's an oscillator indicator, and so it measures between all the way from 0 to 100, and we want it at a certain period setting. Okay, so at default, I don't know if you can see that big enough, but at default it's set to 14, period 14, 30, 70. All right, so we're going to change that up real quick, and then I'm going to switch back to this. So again, last week I changed it. We changed the RSI to 8. All right, and then we're going to have 70, 30 as the settings. So let's just do that. So 70, 30. Actually, sorry, 70, 30 is the default. I'm going to change these to 75, 25. I had it at 80, 20, but I'm going to put it at 75, 25, which captures, you know, a bit more opportunities when this pattern happens. All right, so you can see here our relative strength index indicator. When it goes above the 75, we've got an overbought situation, and when it goes below the 25, we've got an oversold situation. So the sell-off is here, the buy is here. Okay, so the more buyers in the market, there's going to be a point in any cycle in the market where there's too many buyers and people feel it's time to sell off. When Bitcoin was at its peak at $18,000, $19,000, guess what? It was a situation like this. People then decided to dump it, and this is the cycle that occurs. It's human nature. Yeah, human nature. People feel, oh my gosh, it will never be this high again, and other people will feel, no, it's gonna keep going up. So they pile in, and then the sellers sell, and then they drop the price, and then the buyers are caught buying it at a ridiculous price. And so the cycle continues, and this is just human action, human reaction. So we're going to tap into that human reaction when it happens. Okay, so that is all we're using the relative strength index for. They say it's a leading indicator. It lets us know when this happens, we then draw this pattern. Okay, we're not drawing any wedges until we get a breakout of the RSI first and foremost. Otherwise, we could be just drawing it randomly all day long. So you can see some of these conditions. These might have been a really good one here, where the price broke. I mean, if you look at this RSI above the 75 level, let me just mute the lines a bit of background noise there. So if we draw the line here, perfect, boom. All right, so that's that one. Again, you want to touch as many touches. The wicks are fine, but I'm more interested in the body. So these wicks, these long thing that extends from the body of the candlestick, I want the candlestick touches more so than the wicks. This is where basically price went up to a certain level. So let's just show you on this one. Price went as high as this in a 15-minute window, and then it basically, the sellers got really involved and brought the price down, and it closed at this level. So this is what we call a typical candlestick movement. Price goes up, and it can end up being at this level when it closes. Okay, so those of you who got cash effects, there's the foundational trading videos in there, which is good for you to go through. All right, so I put that in the chat. There's a section there on Japanese candlesticks, which is good to go through. I was hoping Mirror Trade had more of that kind of stuff, but they show you different things on trading more so than educating you. But both of those are foundational stuff that you want to be part of to be benefiting from this. So that's just what I want to say on that front. There's many different things you can do. Now, the next thing I want to do, I want to bring up my chart. This is for the MT4. What's happened there? This is for my MT4 people. So if you're going to download Mirror Trade, which I recommend you do, I'm going to bring up my chart in a second. You're obviously going to need to be able to place the trades. So this is what differs from when I'm trading with binary options. You need a dedicated broker. in order for you to trade. So there's a link, if you haven't registered already, there's a link in the group, and I'll repost it here actually, where you can sign up, open up an account with close option. Oops, that's my thing going off there, my MetaTrader. So let me just log in here. All right, let me close that out. So you wanna have an account opened with basically your close option. Okay, if I go to trade room, show you why I like this. Far too much noise. MetaTrader is never quiet when it launches. You can't open it quietly. All right, so this is where we're going to show you how you can make 84% on a trade. My trades typically will go from anywhere from roughly, I would say, 58% up to 84%. And the reason why we do it during the afternoon, and no, we don't do it after 5 o'clock, is because these values drop. The market drops as well. So there's no point in trading between that 5 and 6 o'clock window in the UK, because the London market closes. Okay, so we're not interested in that. So whenever I put a trade on, my duration, is really for about an hour. Though you can do a 15-minute trade, you also want to trade a percentage of your account. So if you've got $100, you may want to only do $10 trades. If you've got a bigger amount, then you can, change it there onwards. So I want to walk you through what happened yesterday. We'll go back to this in a minute. But this is just giving you the framework of what I'm going to be covering today. And like I said, hopefully I'll get an alert, and we can take some live trades as I go through, right? So that's the RSI out of the way. Now, so we spoke about using the RSI. Again, we're going to change it from standard to from 14 to 8. And we want it when we capture these moves, okay? As I showed you. So first of all, I received an alert from a bit of software that I buy. Now, it's up to you guys how much of this, if you want to take on. You want to do the alerts when I get them? Great. Now, obviously, there's a lot of alerts that happen in the day. Oh my gosh, you can't even see this too good. There's lots of alerts that happen in the day. Just expand that out. Just gives you an example of some of the trade alerts that take place. I don't take them all. I don't want them all. I only want maybe a couple of them. Some of them are off when I'm sleeping. Some of them I'm out busy doing other stuff, right? But yesterday, if you noticed in the group, I got an alert on the New Zealand dollar, and I'm going to walk through this one exactly as I got it. So I got an alert from the software, and it told me there was an ascending wedge on the New Zealand dollar. So I don't need to figure this out, right? I don't need to say, okay, which candlestick pair, what time, whatever. It tells me, it's time stamped, and I get the alert. All right. So what I did then, I marked up my chart. Okay. So just as I showed you, I marked up my chart. So this is exactly the chart that I marked up, and I posted this yesterday. If I do see an alert today that's worth taking, I will mark it up, and I'll get back on Zoom. If there's no alerts between now and when I finish, and I see another one, I'll just jump on Zoom, and anybody wants to join, I will go through it live. So let me just big this up. So this is what I did. You're going to see these lines slightly different to what you've just seen. These are automatic on a bit of software. It's actually an indicator that I have on MetaTrader 4. If you want this indicator, let me know and I'll post it in the group. You can download this and have it on your chart. What this does, it automatically marks up my lines of support and resistance, and it's pretty darn good. I don't take a trade in MT4 without the price hitting this, because the probability increases a lot. So I'll walk you through that in a sec. So this is what happened. I marked up my chart, did my wedge pattern. The price sat nicely on this green line of resistance here. And of course, my RSI was below my 20 line. Actually, it was even below the 25 line, which is, you know, what I'm going for. And then we're watching. There's 3 steps, yeah? 3 steps to this. You get the alert, okay? Now, I want you to look at the timestamp. I got the alert at 2:30, all right? 2:30, I got the alert. I went on my chart. I marked up the chart. Now, the third point is waiting for the breakout. Now, if you was to count this out, it was 15, 30, 45 an hour before this broke out. So I didn't go straight in, right? I didn't go straight in. I waited for the breakout of the pattern to occur. And I obviously, it's already been confirmed with the RSI. If the RSI ever went below this line for any reason, of course, this is not a valid trade. It has to go below my line first and then go, yeah? For all the reasons that I mentioned. I want to load the probability in my favor. I'm doing my detective work here. You know, just as Columbo would say, just one more thing. And he would go back to a bit more evidence. I'm looking for more evidence that this is a trade I want to take. In fact, when I do my PowerPoint properly, I'm going to add that to it. I think that's a good analogy there. So then I go into that, and guess what? I ended up with 64% profit on this trade, okay? So if you look at my time was 3:30. That's an hour, how long it took, and then for another hour for me to make the 64% return. So an hour for me to analyze, not even analyze. I got the alert at 2:30. I marked up the chart, and then I just waited. I eyeballed it, just kept my eye on it. You know, 15 minutes later, I knew it's going to take at least a good 30, 45 minutes for that to happen. So, you know, if you're busy doing stuff, just maybe set yourself an alert for every 30 minutes. The moment it breaks, then you want to then get yourself prepared. Go to the trading software and place the trade once all conditions are met. Now, can you see, even though the candle broke out, the first candle dropped down. You know, it's not going to automatically go in your favor. That's not how trading goes. It has a stair-step method. It will go up and then it will go back down. As long as it sits on this line of resistance, I'm happy. The other thing that I've had a feeling that it will go as high as this level and may stop. For me, that's enough. With binary trading, unlike Forex trading, I don't care how high it went or how low it went. I just wanted to know that it went higher than the level I entered the trade in order for me to make my return. So if you can see here, my opening price was 0.66384 and it ended at 0.66464. That's enough points for me to make, but it could have ended at 0.66385. I would still make 64%, okay? So you don't need to have the biggest swing in order for you to make money here. So let me go back to the trade now, and I want to show you on the chart. This is my MetaTrader. So this is what I like. And there's another indicator I'm going to suppress for now. You don't really need it. I just add it. I sometimes like to add it to add that extra layer. If I'm putting a lot of money on, you know, because I really feel that this is the trade that I really want to kill it, I will look at one more indicator which you can get in MT4, and I'll introduce you to that in a minute. But you don't necessarily 100% need it, right? So this is the trade that I did yesterday, one I made earlier. So again, it marked out. Now, if you're trading this as a Forex trade, this would have made you some good money. If I traded this as a Forex trade, I could have made some good money from this. Let's just see how much it went. This is my entry level. All right, so this is my entry level. And, you know, went up about 30 points. So it made about 30 pips in the market. If you do Forex trading, a good number to maybe aim for is to get maybe 100 pips a week or more. You know, 100 pips, 20 pips a day is pretty darn good. So I could have literally gone into this trade because it met my criteria from a binary options point of view. I could have made my 64%, happy with that. But then I could have doubled up and done a Forex trade as well. So if you've got a broker account already, this is what you could have done. If you haven't, don't worry about it. You know, just focus on, you know, one thing, get that right. But this is what I would have done. And I was actually contemplating on doing it. But by the time I made my money, I then thought about it afterwards. It was a bit too late. But this is what, you know, if you're trading on your platform, whatever broker you're using, you know, I've got some recommended brokers that I use that are good. You don't want to just choose a broker randomly, just like, you know, investment programs. You know, some of them look good, but then, you know, you want to withdraw your money, you have problems. If you've got a proper regulated broker, you know, like a broker that Cash FX uses, you know, they're all good. You know, there's other ones that I recommend if you haven't got one. And you can just, you'll buy and sell from here, right? Again, you can do this on a demo. Everything I'm showing you right now, you can do it on a demo. You don't need to put fresh money in. But if you're, you know, if you want to test it with some money, put some money in the game, of course, you can do that as well. The nice thing with binary options is that from $1, you can trade. You can put a trade on, all right? So let me just walk you through this indicator. I'm going to take it off for a minute, and then I'm going to add it. I'm going to delete this, go to my indicator list. So I'm going to remove it from my chart. It's called pivots. Okay, so I don't know if any of you guys who have traded before have ever traded with pivot levels. Pivot levels are really good, quite precise in how they pinpoint. So you see that same trade, right? If I was to remove, you know, my RSI, let me just delete that and remove that. This is just like, what do you do? Like, how do you make sense of this, right? How do you maximize this? It's just movement going up and down. This is the New Zealand dollar. This is obviously the currency pair that I traded on yesterday. So the market drops, the market goes up. There's 100 ways to trade this chart right now. If you're a scalper, you trade on a minute. You know, I can drop to a minute, and each of these candles are worth a minute. And you know, you can have a different strategy for that and jump in. You know, for those people that like to do these high volatile trades, you can use what we call Bollinger Bands. When the price breaks out of the Bollinger, then you can do a trade when the price goes back in and make money on a short time frame. It's just too much headache. Okay, you can make good money that way, but then you may have to sit in front of the chart for too long. So I don't like doing that. You know, we're all busy, but I used to trade like high frequency stuff. Which is good if you got the time, you want to do it. You know, I love Bollinger Bands. You can use it in many different ways. But what I like, and there's so many different ways we can trade this, right? But what I like is using my pivot levels. Whoops. Okay. I guess I'm entering a couple more people into the group. So what I want to do, I want to just add, this is what you do. When you get the indicator, you're going to save it. And there's a couple of ways, you know, there's loads of YouTubes on how to add an indicator to your indicator list. So I'm going to drag it onto my chart. That's one way in which I'm going to do it. And I'm going to then click, there's a lot of different things you can do on this one. I'm going to just click OK on that. And I'm going to change this to a 50-minute window. And you'll see it puts my lines back in. If I trade on a higher time frame, if I trade on an hour, okay. As I mentioned last week, when you go, no, you can only trade binary options from a close option. That's a dedicated broker. Some of the Forex companies used to trade binary, but there was a big cleanup of the market. And, you know, all the cowboys, you know, all the dodgy kind of brokers left town, excuse me, and it left with a couple of brokers. Close option, you know, I've been using them a good couple of years now. They're pretty good. Bitcoin in, Bitcoin out, which is what I like. And so if you're marking up your chart, get into the habit of going to higher time frames. So again, before I even before I even put the pivot on, I could have gone to a higher time frame, right? I could have gone to the daily chart. Okay, it doesn't show me on the daily, does it? No, it shows me on the hour. On higher time frames, you would have to manually mark it up yourself. Okay, which isn't a bad thing. All you're doing is connecting the tops, yeah, connecting the tops of the market. And when the price hit a certain level, so this is my resistance level, and I could just randomly maybe put a line here of even further down where price hit a certain amount of times. I want to go to a level where price struggled to go beyond. So this is pretty good. It hit this level, bounce, went up, kind of went back down, struggled for a little bit, broke down, and it hit this level again, and then it sat on it. So this is a good level of resistance, support, our support level. But what I like about what this indicator does, it does it automatically. So if I look at my higher time frame, I can see that this level here, price was pretty good. Price sat there. It's like a magnet. Price stopped here, resistance here, and dropped from a higher time frame. When you drop down to a smaller time frame now, these levels come into its own, into its fore, big time. So you saw what happened for me when I placed that trade. If I extend this out, this bit here, this was yesterday. All right, so price hit around this level. Now this slightly adjusts as the day changes. Yesterday, it might have been slightly down a bit. So today it's slightly up, but yesterday it was around here. Price sat at this level. It was actually more like this. And I didn't do anything clever. I just looked at the layout. Let me just go back to my chart for a minute, my example. You see here on the green line, that's what I did. I saw the price, it sat on my green line. This is the line we're looking at now. It sat on this green line, boom. All right, that's when I got the indication. Remember, when I first got the alert, it was here, sat on the green line. And then the RSI had gone below it. And so then I went back to my chart and then I started marking up. Okay, so then I went back to this chart. So the green line, which is down here, which is the support line, was actually higher up. It was at this level where I've got the red line right now. I started marking up my chart and then it just took off. And the price has just taken off since. So again, this would have been a nice way for you to make money if you're trading your standard Forex trading. Of course, with Forex trading, you need to put in a stop loss and you need to put in levels of your take profit. And you put in stop loss doesn't work, but that's right, yeah. Stanley, you're right on the money there. With binary trading, it's time dependent. So we're only dealing with time. We want to know that in the next hour, in the next 4 hours, in fact, if I look at my binary options, I could have gone as much as in the next 12 hours, if I believe, or the next day, if I'm, and check this out, guys. If you wanted to place multiple trades, again, if you've got a bigger bank, you want to, you can then start to get more jazzy around this stuff. All right, but if you believe like the dollar is going to rally, which means it's going to go up, you feel the market's bullish, you can place multiple different binary options trade. You can do one for an hour, you can do another one for a day, you can do another one for 12 hours, right? As long as it's higher than our entry level, which is here, you could be making 64% when it made an hour. You can be making another 64% when it went for a day. You can do another 64% when it went for 12 hours, right? So, that's 3 different trades. You could be done for the week. If your goal is to make 150% profit in a week, you've just done it. Now, it's all about probability. You're not gonna, you don't want to just over leverage yourself, especially at the early stage. Get familiar. But if you're doing a demo, just try it. You're not losing money. Put on a demo trade. All right. So if you go into close option, they'll give you the option to demo. They even give you money if you're putting money in, fresh money in. they'll give you the option to, you know, what's it called? Put in a, what's the word I'm looking for? They'll give you a bonus, right? If you put in money in, they'll give you a bonus, and which is pretty cool as well, right? You can do that. So you can have a real account. I've got a real account. I've also got a demo account as well, somewhere along the line here. So when you register for an account, choose both, and then, you know, when you're ready, go to the live account once you want to put money in. All right. So, you know, these are your options. You can put in with perfect money, right? Bitcoin, of course. You've got Ripple. You can use Ethereum. Loads of different ones, and then just put your amount in. Okay. So again, $10 gets you started, but you know, they'll give you 100,000 demo account you can start playing with, for you to get familiarized. All right, so let me just see. I've not seen any alerts yet come through, but I get about, yeah, the last alert I had was early this morning. So I hadn't had nothing in the last X amount of, what's going on here? A bit slower. Little while now. But if you look at, let's just go back to my chart. Do you want to drive this home, and then, you know, feel free to answer any questions on this. So this is exactly what I did, guys. So it doesn't have to be mind taxing. Again, anything new is going to just be, what's it called? A bit of a challenge to get your head around. But, you know, we're not doing too many different things here. We're going to mark up the chart, and let me just go, of course, let me add the RSI to the equation. So we're going to go to RSI down here. At default, it's going to give me the default settings. I'll show you on there. It's going to give my default settings. So I'm going to change that to the levels that I'm after. And then I'm going to put my input. I'm going to change it from 14 to 8. In fact, if I leave it at 14, just look at the chart. All right. You see it's hit there. This is my level, right? This is my level. Now, if I leave it at 14, I will never have taken this trade. All right, so let's change this up. I'm going to change this to 8. Close that. See, by changing that, it makes it a lot sharper. I get a lot sharper entry on my 25 line. So again, and you know, you'll start seeing these patterns occur. And when you see them occur, especially if you use an MT4, right? And you've got pivot levels. Now, I couldn't see the pivot levels in Trading View. There may be one there. But this is what you can get familiar doing. The moment you have this, and you can, there's some RSI alerts. I think it's better in Trading View. So you can set an alert for when price goes out of the 25 range and goes above the 75, and kind of see where these wedge patterns occur. Of course, I've got a bit of software, it's AI driven, so I'm getting high probability setups. But if you just want to get familiarized with it, you can just look at, boom, this one went below the 25 line. So guess what? I'm going to start drawing my pivot lines right here. I draw my pivot lines right there, and I'm drawing my pivot lines right here. And guess what? Perfect. See, in this case, we know that the price is sat on my pivot level. So this is a really good time. If I just saw this randomly, and I saw, of course, my alert started here, right? My initial alert, if I was to put my crosshair, it started at this level here, right? Price went below the 25 around here, but it sat on this level. And so I'm expecting price to rebound. It doesn't have to be perfect, guys. It doesn't have to be like, okay, each candle. So this is when I got my alert. And then 30 minutes later, this candle happened. This is really powerful, guys. If you get a strong, what we call a strong bullish candle like this, It's I forget the actual name of it. Anthony, if you know, remind me. But this candle covers the previous candle. It's engulfing. I think this is called an engulfing chart pattern. These are really powerful reversal patterns. Let me just quickly look that up. Because when that occurs, you're again, we're building our case. What's happened to my browser here? Okay, we're building our case, right? The more of this we get, and that's why, you know, I want you guys to get into, if you're in CFX, you know, get into the academy. Oh man, my computer's running a bit rubbish now. Get into the academy. Let me bring up it. If you ever see how many tabs I've got running in the background, it's ridiculous. I need to stop myself. Just give me one sec. Right, I want to look at this for a second. While that's messing up on me, I'm going to go to another browser window. Go. All right, so I'm just doing a quick search here on engulfing patterns. Okay, this is pretty good, pretty darn good. So check this out. This is actually almost the same pattern. Okay, this is more for what I want to really look at. Is this engulfing pattern here? So similar kind of thing what we got. Yeah, we're drawing the you know, we've got these are our trend lines. And then in our case, yeah, this is quite a nice, strong, bullish candle, right? Boom. But this in our scenario, this is what we're looking for when it breaks the trend line quite nicely and then just goes from there. So that's a more of an engulfing chart pattern that you know we are going to be working with. So let me go back here. So we've got this strong candle, man. I'm telling you, if I saw this, I would probably put a forex trade on. And when I place with pivot levels, they're really nice for mapping out your take profit levels and your support levels. So let's just say, for the example's sake, you were to trade this. I know this isn't a forex session, but all the parameters, all the bearings are here for a really good trade. Let me just remove my trend line for a second. So when this happens, there's a couple of things here that gets me really excited about wanting to take this trade. All right, I'm just going to draw it on here. If I can draw it objects. Maybe not. Oh yeah, I can do it with this. Man alive. Oh yeah, here it shapes. All right. All right, so around here, oh, that's terrible. That is terrible. Let me expand it. Okay. So this line here, this area, don't know if that's good enough color. I hope you guys can see that, all right? We've got this candle. Let me make this a bit bigger as well. So you can really see it, really see that. So first things first, our price, our RSI is below the 25. So we had this scenario happen all within this sector here. This is the money zone, right? This is your preparation zone. It goes into this line, this area here. And of course, it did a famous thing where price sat quite nicely on this pivot line. And then, you know, it just kind of stayed. This candle here, which is like a cross, is called a doji pattern. It's actually more like a, and again, if I go back to my chart patterns, they signify reversals that take place in the market, okay? So this chart pattern, in conjunction with my RSI level going below 25, in conjunction with price hitting this line of this pivot line lets me know, wow, this could be a really strong trade. Added to the fact that the next candle was an engulfing candle, which literally was a strong bullish candle, engulfed. It basically covered the body. We're not interested in the wick so much. You know, this bit here, this tells you guys, again, if you're looking at this from a technical analysis point of view, this tells us that this candle here, this chart, this cross-looking candle, at one point, the whole body was red, right? All of this, the body was red. It got this low, but then the buyers pushed back big time, right? Pushed back big time to such an extent that it had a little body left. And then the next candle was like, boom, it was an aggressive move to the upside. Now, if you've drawn your trend line, so you've drawn this, you've got all of these hitting these levels. Again, you don't need to be phenomenal. Just the more touches, the better. So the candle that took you into this area, yeah, that's kind of where you want to leave it lagging on. And then the one that, you know, leads you on. If you can go all the way to the top, fantastic, right? You want to have a good 4 touches on that. And then if I go down and do my other trend line, boom. Right now, I'm not expecting to do any sell trades at all, right? I'm not expecting the price to go further down. I'm only expecting price to go one way, right? So once this happens, and this is a strong bullish candle, I would even take a Forex trade on this because it's such a good setup. So again, it literally went in here, reversed, and it went as high as about 20 pips, close to about 20 pips, which if you're Forex trading and you're doing, you know, a standard lot, that could be 100, that could be hold on a standard lot, that can be $2,000. Am I right? $10? No, 200. That's 200. 20 pips on a standard is 200. Getting carried away. So again, based on the size of your account, you would only trade a certain amount. If it's a Forex trade, you wouldn't want to trade no more than 3 to 5%, unless you want to really build your bank. You know, if you've got a bit more experience, then you could maybe increase the leverage. If I'm trading Forex, and this is more of an advanced strategy, and I don't want to confuse the lines here, guys. Just give me some feedback. Put a 2 in the chat if you're getting confused, or a 3 if you're okay with what I'm sharing, because a confused mind does nothing. So if I'm going too much into this, I want to know. So put a 2 if you're confused, 3 if you're okay. So I want to take a temperature of the room. On some webinar programs, you can have a webinar thing. All right, so I got some feedback. Would like the settings for RSI. Okay. All right, so RSI is just 8. So go into here. So RSI is 8. Let me bring this up on the main chart. So 8 is your RSI level. If I left it at 14, which is the default, I would never have taken that trade. In fact, let me just see what that would have done. If I put 14, I would have never have taken that trade, right? And no, probably would have you have. You wouldn't have seen it. It would have just been like, oh, okay, it's got to hit my level. So really important that you change this to 8. That has been found to be a very key number. And your levels are 75 and 25. I've done 20 before, where you're not gonna get as many opportunities if it's really low. And the default is 25. It's 20. It's 70 and 30. So again, if I was to change this up, at default these levels are 30 and 70. So if I left it at default, that may not even have hit my criteria. So let's have a look. So Oh, yeah, of course it would. It's the other way around. Because yeah, I'm thinking the other way around. So of course it would have hit my criteria because it went. It's got to hit 30 before it hits 25. Duh. So let me just change that back. So yeah, the higher number, of course, it's going to hit it. So I want it to go lower so that it's definitely a better setup. Now, guys, if you're trading on MetaTrader 4, MT4, there's one more thing I'm going to add to the chart. I'm going to delete it now, and then I'm going to add it. So that's all I need. Yeah, you don't need a lot. You can exactly what I've just shown you here. Yeah, we're going to flick back to my browser just to make sure you can do the same thing on TradingView. So again, if you want to join TradingView, if you haven't got TradingView account, let me know. Actually, I posted a link in the group. Oh my gosh, computer's really running ridiculous. Right, I'll let it give that a second for it to sort its life out. So one more thing I'm going to show you, which is why I like MT4. If I'm going to put a big money on this, and I do like putting big money on, don't follow what I do. Just keep to your minimums because I'm very risk averse. And I don't want to be irresponsible on this training. So, but this is what I would do. Don't necessarily follow what I would do. Do as I say, not what I do. USD JPY, would you put in buy then on a binary looking at MT4? Dollar yen. All right. Okay. We'll look at dollar yen in a sec. So this is one more thing, guys. Now, I'm telling you now, I'm bloody excited. I'm really excited. If I say bloody, you know I'm really excited, right? So, guys, I need to wrap up this call because it's past the hour. And I actually have an alert. The person that provides this training on this does a call in 10 minutes. Last week, her internet blew out, so she couldn't do the session, but she should be live in 15 minutes. So I want to show you this. This is an indicator that from the time I knew about it, I don't know if you know about it, Anthony. It's one I always like to refer back to. You know, like I talk about building your case. Again, when I release my next PowerPoint, oh, not now. I did say an hour, so she's called me right on the hour. So I like to build my case, just like Colombo, right? If I have to add one more indicator, like my life depended on it, and they said, Leroy, what is the only one indicator that you can have on your chart, right? And I would say, I would even get, you know, if I had to choose one, I would choose TDI, this TDI. Now, it's quite complex. You like alligator? I like this. It's quite complex. There's a lot to it. It's built in RSI. It's built in stochastic. It's built in all sorts of stuff, right? But I just wanted to show you the other thing I would do. So the RSI is key. Everybody's got RSI. You don't need any special charting software. But check this out. This is the equivalent of my RSI, this green line. All right, you see how it just, boom, goes below? If I was to mark up some levels on here, I would do that, but I'm not going to do it for the sake of this. I just want to show you, if I'm trading this with, and I'm putting an extra amount of money on, or I want a really big, I want to do maybe 2 trades, maybe 3 trades. My goal is to do 3 binary option trades in a day. Sometimes because of my time zone and stuff, I may not get that. And I'm like, you know what? This is a perfect setup. I'm just going to put all my money on this. I would then want to look at this TDI line. All I'm looking for, guys, is this green line to cross my red line. All right. So as it crosses, again, it's just adding more probability for me to say, yes, I'm going to take. Everything here is a yes, but by the way, without it. All right. This is if I'm going to just go in a bit more aggressive. And then rather than doing an hour trade, I may do a few trades. Right. This is just if I'm going to go in aggressive because I want to see this movement happen. first and foremost. Okay, I'm just going to walk you through this trade because this is really powerful. Everything that you see on this trade, once you've got this indicator, you can literally start to identify areas where you can make some really good money from. So first things first, we've got the breakout, right? We've got the trend line, we've got the RSI. Let me put the RSI back in because that's key, right? So all of these things we've got, right? It's everything I'm going to put back in, and then I'm going to wrap this up, and then input, change that to an 8. Right. So I've got all of that. RSI is below. Fantastic. Got that. Perfect. Now, if you're trading Forex, you can do a trade, and this could be your level of take profit. It's about 8 pips, right? So this is your first take profit level. I was with a company where, you know, they give you trade alerts, and what they do, they tell you, all right, trade level 1 is this level, 0.6605. So you put that into your trading software. Yeah, you're going to place a new order. And this is for Forex, guys. You don't need to do this for buying. You'll put in your take profit levels here, point blah, blah, blah. Okay. Your take profit 2 level is when price hits this level. It's already marked out for you with the pivot levels, right? So take profit 1 is that. Take profit 2 is that. If you hit both levels, you're in the money, about 19 pips. So you can make 19, say 20 pips on your first trade. On the second trade, you can make about half of that on the first trade. If you add them together, that's about 30 pips in one trade. Okay. Now, technically, you can still be in this trade, right? Because your stop level, and again, if I'm going too much, just let me know. You would basically, any trade you put on, you would put a stop loss level. Now, can you see this? How great this strategy is, this indicator is. You would put your stop loss level right here. Let's just mark this one out. And I'm going to say that's less than 10 pips, guys. So let's say you've done a binary trade. You put your binary trade on, you're done. You made 64% on this trade. If you've done 2 of them because, you know, you've got a bit more experience and you've got this indicator. Again, I've not seen this it's not as, I have looked on Trading View, and I've not really seen a good TDI like this. Anyway, you do this and you decide to also double up as a Forex trade. And guess what? Your stop loss is down here. It's not even touched. Now, for those of you that aren't familiar, your stop loss level is the level where is your risk. This is your protection, guys. If you've got $10,000 in your trade account, $1,000, $100, you don't want it all at risk on one trade. That would be ridiculous. So you wouldn't want to put $100 on this trade, okay? But you could put, if you had $100, you could put £1 a trade, right? You can put actually 2%, 5%. You could maybe put a couple of quid per point on this trade, okay? And this is your risk. You know, this is your risk. You're covering your money. This is the only thing that matters in trading, is how much you're willing to lose, not how much you're willing to make. For years, I got it wrong. I was always thinking, how much money can I make from the markets today? It's all about capital preservation. How much am I prepared to lose? Now, I know it sounds a bit negative, but that's all you're doing. You're at this moment in time, when it goes to this level and it's broken out, you can then move your stop to what we call a break-even level, which is this DPV level, so that if price ever drop below, you know, maybe 2 hours later, 12 hours later, whatever time frame later, you're protecting your money by doing that, right? At this point. So just think about that. So again, you don't need to worry about that when you're doing binary options. And I'm kind of laboring on it because there's no alerts, right? But if you're doing binary, you just put your trade on, boom, and you would just make money all day long from this, you know, it didn't come anywhere close back down to this level that you got in. So you would have made money all the way up to the road up here. But if you're going to double up and trade Forex now, you would put your levels in. You put your take profit level 1 here. and maybe you take profit level 2 here, you put your stop loss right here, and when the price moves in your direction like it has here, and you've made a few pips, you know, or if it's hit your first take profit level, move your stop loss to break even, and then boom, it's hit your second take profit levels, then you can move your stop again into profit. Just depending how much points you want out of the market a day. If you want 20 points, you've made it, all right? And anything else from there is gravy. If you want 10 points, you've made it. Do you know what I'm saying? If you want 100 points, then you might still be in this trade, all right? Or you may need to take another trade. So alligator, dollar yen, let's just quickly look. I've got a few more minutes and then I'll close.